Welcome everyone. We're really excited to have you here today to join this masterclass, Prep, Prime and Pin, the power of Pinterest. Let's start with some quick intros. So I'm Ben, I'm the head of digital here at the Pull Agency, and I work with our clients to develop and execute all manner of digital campaigns from paid social through to influencer and organic social marketing.
And I'm Liv, I'm the Senior Social Media Executive here at Pull. I work alongside Ben in the digital team, helping health and beauty brands to coordinate their social media platforms through organic, paid and influencer activity.
Brilliant, thanks Liv. I'm just going to cover off some quick housekeeping bits and pieces before we get started. So normally at the end of these sessions, we would have a Q&A. But we thought today we'd try something a bit different. So we've put together what's hopefully a fun, quick little quiz for you guys at the end of the session, just to see who's been paying attention. If you'd like to take part, we've dropped a link to it in the chat, and you'll just need to use that and pop the session ID in at the end of today's session. But again, we'll share all this when the time comes. But that doesn't mean we don't love questions. So if you do want to discuss anything we cover today in more detail, please do feel free to get in touch with myself, Liv, or anyone else here at Pull. Now, we've got some familiar faces on the call who we've worked with before, but also a lot of new faces. So before we get into everything, I just want to quickly introduce who the Pull Agency are. Doing it in boring slides is no fun, so we've got a quick video to show you what we're all about, and I'm going to play that now. Brilliant. So hopefully with that video, it's clear kind of what the Pull Agency is all about. But I've just dropped the link to the quiz in the chat. Sorry, apparently it wasn't there. So yeah, hopefully with that video, what came across is that we're all about insight-driven storytelling for ambitious health and beauty brands. We believe that inside every brand is a better story waiting to be told. And we use our insight-driven approach to uncover your unique brand story, bringing it to life and telling it in a way that brings the biggest impact to your business. And that goes for digital too. We take that same strategic approach to campaign planning and bring innovative thinking and creativity to execution, making sure you're seen and heard in the places that matter most. We've got more than 10 years experience working on digital campaigns and activating and amplifying your brand story. All of our digital team at Pull are seasoned experts across a range of social networks and digital channels, from Meta and the likes of Facebook and Instagram, through to Twitter, TikTok, Snap, and of course, the reason we're here today, Pinterest. And this experience means we've got our finger firmly on the pulse when it comes to the digital landscape. And that's exactly why we've decided to focus today's event on Pinterest.
Now, if you've joined us here today, the chances are that you've probably seen a dip in results on the current platforms that your brand uses, and you're looking to explore some new channels and tap into a new audience and market. Perhaps maybe you've heard that Pinterest is delivering really great results at the moment, and you're curious to learn how your beauty brand can get started. Well, you're in luck, because today we'll be helping you understand the pinner mindset whilst exploring how you can take advantage of Pinterest's highly engaged beauty audience through effective organic and paid strategies, how you can incorporate these into your overall digital marketing strategy, and finally, taking a look at some key industry trends to get involved with. So let's go back to how it all started. In 2009, Pinterest was conceptualized. With discovery and sharing at the forefront, it was then launched in August of 2012, but initially by invite only. The idea for it emerged from an earlier app created by Ben Silberman and Paul Sciarra called Tote, which was essentially a virtual replacement for catalogs. In October of that year, they launched business accounts. Then in 2014, they welcomed their first ad product, which was Promoted Pins. And this would essentially allow companies to sponsor results in its search results and category feeds, as well as a new analytics dashboard for any of their business users. In 2015, they announced the launch of buyable pins, which was a special type of pin that can be used to make purchases within the platform itself. And by 2016, they had reached 150 million monthly users. Fast forwards to May 2020, where Pinterest introduced a new integration with Shopify that gave their more than 1 million merchants a really quick way to upload catalogs to Pinterest and turn their products into shoppable product pins in just a few clicks. And by the time we reached 2021 and had been in and out of lockdown numerous times, Gen Z were leading Pinterest search trends with searches up 96% year on year, as they came to the platform for inspiration in reclaiming a year that was lost to the pandemic. So all of this leads us to today. Pinterest has quickly become the most trusted digital platform, and today has over 445 million monthly users. If it were a country based on those users, it would surpass the USA as the third largest in the world. There are also currently more than 5 billion searches on the platform each month and 6 billion boards created. So clearly the potential of the platform is huge. But now that we've looked at Pinterest and how it came to be, who exactly are the users and how do they behave?
Well, let's try and understand a little bit more about them. What brings them to Pinterest and how do they act once they're here? You might have a preconceived idea of the average Pinterest user in your head, and I'd be happy enough to guess that that user is probably female. But actually, while men currently make up almost a quarter of all users on the platform, the number of male pinners has grown 40% year on year. And what does that gender split look like when we just consider those beauty consumers? Well, we can see the gap narrows even more, with 67% female and 33% male, and a split that is continuing to narrow. And what about the different generations and age breakdowns? In the past, Pinterest might have been seen as more of a millennials only platform, but actually that's changing as well, with Gen Z pinners also up 40% year on year. And when we look at the overall age split of pinners in the UK, it looks like this. It does skew a little bit older, but for context, when we look at beauty consumers on Pinterest, we can see a big swing towards a much younger audience. Now, regardless of age or gender, these users all have some things in common. They tend to have higher incomes and they tend to buy more often. So why is it that these users come to Pinterest in particular? It's all about going from idea to idea. It's a unique environment that Pinterest creates and the unique mindset of pinners. They're not here to kind of doom scroll or fend off FOMO. Pinterest is personal, not social media. It's not about news, memes, dance crazes, and there are no pictures from the past. In fact, it's where people come to plan for the future. They're here to discover new things, save new ideas, and make their next purchase. People on Pinterest are eager for new ideas, which means that, unlike other social networks, they actually want to hear from you and your brand. Content from brands doesn't interrupt on Pinterest, it inspires. And because of Pinterest's unique audience and this positive environment, people don't zone out on the platform, they lean in. It's more of a collaboration between brand and user. It's a kind of creative sandbox where they come to engage with ideas. They come here to plan what's next, their next project. That could be a home renovation, could be a wedding, could be their next hairstyle, or it could even just be how they're going to do their nails for the weekend. Ultimately, they come to Pinterest to learn, try, make, and most importantly, buy. And it's this engaged, action-orientated mindset which makes Pinterest such a valuable platform for brands and advertisers. There's a natural, genuine alignment between what people are on the platform for, ideas and inspiration, and what brands are doing, helping them find what they want and act on it. In fact, 83% of weekly pinners made a purchase based on content they saw from a brand on the platform. And they're almost twice as likely to take a shopping action here versus users on other platforms, meaning the shoppers have a 30% bigger basket compared to other platforms. And all of that shopping, where does it start? It starts with a plan. 97% of searches on Pinterest are unbranded. This is, again, really unique. If you think about Google, for example, people are most likely searching for a particular brand or a particular product. People come to Pinterest looking for a thing, but not a particular brand. This means it's a great chance for you to make a strong first impression before your competitors have had a chance to. And those shopping stats were great. So obviously Pinterest is doing something right. But what is it about the platform and its shopping experience that encourages users to spend more? Well, they're here to search for ideas. This means they're more predisposed to the idea of purchasing. Buying something is the natural output or end result of that search for ideas. In a world of kind of direct response, click to buy, shop now buttons, consumers still respond to the unexpected, and that lends itself to Pinterest, built on discovery and inspiration. We know from our own Future of Beauty research that given the choice, most people would still prefer to shop in store, because shopping has always been about more than just what you buy. The experience is so important, a moment of inspiration, of product discovery, vital. Pinterest takes the best of shopping offline and brings it online. If we think back to the timeline Liv shared, it was born as a way to bring catalogs online. It makes it easy for people to browse, consider, and spend more without pressure, just like they would in real life. And how about beauty as Pinterest as a platform for beauty brands? Well, because of the visual nature of the platform, Pinterest and beauty brands go hand in hand. Thanks to its marketing potential and that capacity for user engagement, it's little wonder Pinterest lists beauty as one of the top 4 sectors on the platform. And in fact, the category has 6.5 million monthly users in the UK alone, with beauty searches increasing 35% year on year. If we break that down even further, we can see the top beauty categories, with makeup leading the way with 4.5 million searches, followed by skincare, hair, and then finally nails. And the benefit to beauty brands is clear. No impression is wasted. You're actually 82% more likely to reach a beauty enthusiast on Pinterest versus other platforms. Trends pack more of a punch on Pinterest as well. They last 20% longer here compared to the rest of the internet. And best of all, it's got bigger beauty buyers. Pinners purchase 80% more beauty products versus non-pinners.
So hopefully that's convinced you that Pinterest is the right place for your brand and why it really should be part of the mix for every single beauty brand. But where exactly do you start? Well, now we'll take you through how to effectively optimize your organic and paid content on the platform, starting with organic. So firstly, organic content on Pinterest actually has a lot of sales potential, and those that use the platform weekly are 2 times more likely to say it's the most influential platform in their purchase journey versus other social media platforms. Plus, 9 in 10 weekly pinners say that Pinterest is an online oasis for them, full of inspiration and escapism. So making sure that your organic content is optimized effectively is just as important as your paid ads. So now we'll just dive into the different organic features that are available on the platform and how you can take advantage of their potential. So let's start from the basics with Pinterest pins and boards. So pins are bookmarks that people use to save content that they love. It's really simple. People can search for any pin in any industry, for example, minimal makeup looks, and they can then save the ones that they like and also click to find out more. As a brand, you can create pins that link back to your website so that you can share your products and offerings. And then this leads us on to boards. So a board is then a collection where users or brands can save and organize specific pins. Usually each board has its own independent theme or purpose. For example, you may have a skincare or hairstyles board. Use these boards to organize your brand's pins so that people can easily browse your profile or explore your ideas and products. And now you know where to start with pins and boards. Here are some board best practices to help you get set up in the right way. So when determining what ideas to give pinners, Pinterest looks at the name of the board that pins are saved to in order to understand the context of the pin and how it's useful to pinners. So make sure that your board names and descriptions are specific and relevant to your audience, and also contain good keywords, because this will then help optimize your boards for search. Plus, make sure that you pick a board category to help Pinterest's algorithms better understand your content. For example, you could pick a health and wellness category, DIY category, or women's style. To keep things even more organized, you can also add a section to your boards to divide even more efficiently. And this will allow you to pick the specific pins that you want to add, and you can save new ones like you always would. For example, if you have a board named hairstyles, you could have a specific section within there on braids or updos. Now, much like content on any other platform, it should follow a cohesive plan and strategy, and we can help with that. But at Pinterest, there are 4 main content planning basics for you to keep in mind. So firstly is the type of content. So keep in mind that your followers will be those that are most likely to see your new organic content. So look to include creative that is going to inspire your core audience. Next is keep mid-funnel in mind. So these are users who are aware of your brand and are starting to move closer to buying your products. Now, this is true for all content on Pinterest and especially for organic, but make sure that you consider how your pins will meet a user when they are searching and drive them to take an action. This is a really essential part of your wider digital marketing strategy as well. Next is test and learn. So you can pull any insights from any organic content that is performing well to not only drive the strategy for your future content, but also for your paid advertising. And finally is post frequency. So unlike social networks where your post reach peaks in the first 24 hours, on Pinterest, your reach actually grows over time as people discover and save your pins. The algorithm favors the quality of the content that you're producing, not when you posted it. So they suggest that weekly activity is a lot better than a huge content dump all in one go. One key aspect behind creating some really effective content on the platform is ensuring that you drive inspiration. And the most inspirational pins are visually appealing, relevant, positive, original, and actionable. And so make sure that you follow these 5 simple dimensions of inspiration. So firstly, it's a no-brainer, but Pinterest is a visual platform. So make sure that you're creating content that is visually appealing and engaging. But that content must be relevant to your core audience. As like we said earlier, your followers are who will see and engage with your content first. Keep it positive. This is a platform for inspiration and to drive users to take an action, not to respond negatively, to keep things upbeat, optimistic, and positive. Now, this may sound obvious, but your content must be original. You should be pinning fresh ideas and new products rather than rehashing any old content. And finally, make sure that your content is actionable. You want people to purchase or follow your desired action. And remember, the inspiration should be at the forefront of your content, because this is what the platform is all about. Inspiration is what you want to be driving, and this is what should be coming across on all of your activity on the platform. Now, we've spoken a lot about pins and how to drive inspiration, but you might be asking, well, what is the art of a good pin? And it's really simple and can be determined by 3 things. So firstly is the creative. Now, forget about Facebook and Instagram where square images rule. On Pinterest, you need to think vertical, as taller images look better on mobile, and keep text to a minimum, as this is what your caption is for. And just like content on every other platform, making sure that your creative is effectively optimized for your pins is key. So firstly, Pinterest recommends that 1000 by 1500 pixels is just right for your imagery or video. Anything else may negatively impact your performance. What may work on other platforms, for example, may not work here. So create content that fits this. This is so important. Secondly, make sure that your product or service is front and center. Avoid using abstract images or lifestyle imagery that doesn't showcase. Sorry, for video content specifically, Lead with a clear hook within the first few seconds to capture people's attention. You want them to watch the whole video and take your desired action. Make sure it also clearly communicates your ideas. And for organic content, Pinterest recommend videos between 15 seconds and 1 minute long. Now, this isn't TikTok where your sound is defaulted on. Some pinners will be watching video with the sound off, so don't rely on audio or dialogue. Use text overlay or pin descriptions to help tell your story. And finally, it may sound obvious, but thumbnails are so important. So when selecting a cover image when you upload your video, this will allow users to know exactly what your video is about as soon as they come across your pin. And this step is so key because it's what draws users' attention and stops them scrolling onto the next pin. And the next point in the art of a good pin is the description. So each pin should have a description and give good context around what your pin is trying to convey. The best captions help people imagine what they might do with the pin, but also provides extra information. There is a 500 character limit, and so this is plenty of space for you to get across what your pin is all about. And remember that pins last forever, so make sure that you're writing timeless copy that will continue to engage your users. And finally is the extras. So use rich pins to include extra brand information. Rich pins are a special type of organic pin that automatically syncs information from your website to your pins. Make sure you're also linking your pins to help users head to a specific page on your website. For example, all product pins should head to where the user can purchase, and all recipe pins should head to where the full recipe page is, for example. Now put all of these together in one pin and you'll be ready for success. So we've taken a look at pins, boards, their strategies, and how to create content that is full of inspiration. But actually sourcing and creating content can be really tough when starting out on the platform. But luckily, there are a few ways that you can source information for your content. Firstly, is by keeping an eye on the board names that pinners are saving your specific content to. This will help inform what kind of content and categories your pinners are interested in so that you know what works best and can therefore inform and inspire the content that you create in the future. So if you're a skincare brand, for example, maybe your pinners are saving your content to glass skin or hydrated skin boards. So by keeping an eye on what they want to see and how they are organizing your content, it enables you to create more targeted and relevant organic content. And another way of finding relevant content to add to your boards is by staying on top of Pinterest trends and aligning your content where relevant. If a top performing organic pin is the start of something larger on Pinterest, make sure you're capitalizing on the moment by creating new organic and paid creative to align. For example, your brand posted a board that contained self-care tips and DIY at-home spa treatments and saw really high reach and click-through rates. Have a look to see if there are any related search terms that are trending on Pinterest. If there are, then great, post more similar content to this. And while you can do your own searches and monitor your own analytics on the platform to identify trends and opportunities, Pinterest have also been super helpful and created some really useful resources and insights to help brands maximize their efforts on the platform. The first of these is their annual Pinterest Predicts report, which highlights the trends they expect to see take off on the platform. Now, we'll be going into some of their key Beauty 2023 predictions a little bit later, but these can really be valuable for brands looking to create content on the channel. And the other tool is literally called Pinterest Trends. And this is a tool that's available to Pinterest business users, which they can use to identify, monitor, and track current and upcoming trends. It sorts keywords by search volume on the platform, which helps brands plan and adapt their content to maximize results. And trends can be filtered by growing trends, seasonal trends, monthly or yearly, and broken down by keyword, interests or verticals, age and gender, showing the change in interest over the past week, month, and year. And Pinterest trends are so important. According to a study by Black Swan, trend on Pinterest actually takes off 20% faster than trends on any other platform in the first 6 months. This momentum translates to relevance for you and your brand because you get ahead of a trend that's rising fast and your content rises with it. We already mentioned that trends last longer on the platform, and so this also means you don't have to worry about putting all that work into content only to watch the trend drop off. Your brand benefits from trends with a longer lifespan. Now, this isn't like TikTok, where by the time you filmed your content, found the right sound, uploaded it, the trend has been and gone. So how do you harness these trends on Pinterest? Well, firstly is through creative inspiration. So tap into these trends to inspire fresh ideas for your content. Next is with product development. So use these trends to inform new product ideas. For example, is there a new color or a new ingredient that's on the rise? And finally, with merchandising. So it's not just online where you can benefit from Pinterest trend reporting, but offline too. You can also use Pinterest trends to help merchandise in-store, updating any signage and displays based on trend signals.
Brilliant, thanks, Liv. So we've kind of taken a good look there at the organic features on the platform and kind of some of those tools to help you tap into the trends that are going on. And we'll be going through some of the key beauty ones, as Liv said, in a little bit. But first of all, we want to also explore paid advertising on the platform and take a look at what features are available there as well. Before we do that, I just want to share a few more stats. As we'll see with some case studies that we'll be sharing later, brands who advertise on Pinterest are seeing fantastic results. As Pinterest say themselves, your ads work harder here. Brands that advertise on the platform can expect to see 2.3 times more efficient cost per conversion and a 2 times higher return on ad spend for retail brands. Pinners also spend 80% more in retail than those off the platform and are more likely to take a shopping related action. But why? Again, it all comes back to that unique pinner mindset. Your typical sales funnel is, of course, usually divided into awareness, consideration, and sales. But when you break that down into more detail, this is the sort of typical picture that emerges with people at various stages of that journey. With regular social media or other advertising, you're actually spending a lot of money to reach people who maybe don't even know they have a problem or aren't seeking something in particular, let alone taking steps to address that and ultimately purchase. And that's fine. It's a necessary, important part of brand building. But with Pinterest, things are a little bit different. Because of the unique way the platform works, people are already in that kind of problem-aware phase. And in fact, 65% of pinners say they go to Pinterest to shop. So you can be a lot more focused with how you spend your advertising budget. As we said earlier, unlike other social channels, on Pinterest, there's this natural alignment between what people are looking for, ideas and inspiration, and what advertisers are doing, helping them find and act on those things. So how do you target those users? Well, as with other social platforms, the audiences you use and target can be largely split up in the same way. So you've got interests and keywords, groups of people you can target based on their behaviors, interests, and browsing activities. This is, again, where those trends tools that Liv mentioned can really, really help as you start to build out nice, rich, detailed groups of people to target. The second method are your actor-like audiences. These are the same as lookalikes that you may have used on other platforms, new users that are similar to existing customers, website visitors, or Pinterest followers. And thirdly, we have our remarketing or retargeting audiences. These are audiences based on user activity, so things like past purchases, newsletter subscribers, site visitors, or even engagement with your Pinterest account. And one of these isn't better than the other, as we'll see with some of the case studies later. It's all about making sure you get the right mix and blend of the three. And what about the ads themselves? Because Pinterest is such a visual platform, its ad options and formats obviously emphasize images and video while looking similar to organic content. In fact, a recent study by Lumen showed that scroll time on other social networks is 3 times faster than Pinterest. The faster people scroll, the less attention they pay to accompanying ads. This means ads on Pinterest can offer a much higher impact and therefore return versus those on other platforms. More ads are seen, noticed, and acted on. So let's dive into some of the ad formats. Now, there are a whole bunch of different advertising products available to businesses using Pinterest's self-serve platform. And they've actually got at least another 10 in the pipeline that they'll be rolling out over the next 18 months or so. But we're going to start with some of their most common ad formats and the ones you're most likely to use. They are your standard pin and video pin, idea pins, carousel pins, shopping pins, and collections. And we'll start with the pin ad and video version first. These are both kind of visual first formats. The image ad allows brands to showcase their products in simple vertical formats that pinners have come to expect. And the video format works in a similar way. And because people on Pinterest are there with an active focus to solve a problem, they treat branded video the same way they treat unbranded video. And therefore, it doesn't feel intrusive or inauthentic. And when we talk video, there are actually two video options for you. You've got your main video that's on the screen now, but you've also got the max width option. This is kind of a slightly wider format that occupies a bit more real estate for greater impact. And these image and video ads are really great for those reach and consideration campaigns where you want to get as many eyeballs on your product as possible. And in terms of creative, make sure you include your logo and a clear, compelling call to action. Next up are idea pins. Idea pins are basically similar to stories. They're immersive, full screen, and can be up to 20 slides or frames of either video or imagery within a single ad. Pinterest reports that this format does best against awareness and consideration objectives, with brands using them to tell more of a story, perhaps around a new product or a new tutorial for a skincare regime. Then we have the carousel pins. Now, these are similar to the carousel ads you'll have encountered on other platforms. They let you group together similar or complementary products, or again, tell more of a story than you could with just a single image. These are really fantastic for consideration and conversions. But again, don't forget those all-important logos and call to actions. We then have collection pins. These are another great way of organizing and grouping your products together to tell a bigger story. They can be a mix of video and imagery, and they can be integrated with your product catalog. And they're really good for driving further website traffic and sales. In fact, they're perfect for helping users build bigger baskets as they discover more items that they like. And then finally, we have the shopping pins. The shoppable pins, and they include details such as pricing, reviews, and product availability. When combined with your product catalog, these can be a really powerful ad format, with Pinterest saying that brands can expect to see their return on ad spend increase by as much as 15% when using these. And that leads us nicely onto catalogs. This is your most important step if you want to drive sales via Pinterest. It allows the platform to integrate with your entire product feed. If you've uploaded your product catalog to other platforms such as Meta or TikTok, then the process on Pinterest is pretty similar, and we can always help you with the steps if you've not done this before. If you use Shopify or WooCommerce, Pinterest has got a built-in integration with those platforms. All you need to do is connect your existing shopfront to your Pinterest business account, and you're ready to go. It automatically adds your entire product catalog to Pinterest and creates shopping pins for all your products. If you use something other than Shopify or WooCommerce, you can upload your catalog manually using a CSV file. It's fairly straightforward, but a bit more fiddly. So again, we can always help with that. And alternatively, for larger brands with big inventory or multiple daily updates and changes to things like pricing or availability, you can use Pinterest Shopping API to align with your existing product feed. And finally, this scaled approach really does pay off. Merchants who upload their products to Pinterest catalogs see 5 times more impressions than those who haven't uploaded their products.
So earlier we mentioned Pinterest trends and how you can utilize them for your content. And Pinterest actually pride themselves on their predictions, thanks to their robust methodology and analysis. And for the last 3 years, 8 out of 10 of those predictions have come true. Trends on Pinterest sustain monthly growth for 20% longer than trends elsewhere on the internet. So look at them like a crystal ball, if you like, giving you key insights into what will be trending in your industry, when and how you should get involved. So next, we're going to take a look at some of the key beauty trends for 2023. And the first of the trends is the skinification of hair care. Now, if you're a beauty brand, you will know all about this. It's essentially encouraging users to incorporate scalp products into their usual skincare routine. And this is a huge trend that we're seeing at the moment. And we recently hosted an episode of our Future of Beauty Unfiltered podcast with trichologist Mark Blake, exploring the ins and outs of it. Interestingly, Pinterest found that searches for clean scalp have increased by 55%, and scalp treatments for dry scalps rose by 70%. So if you're a hair care brand, to capitalize on this trend, you could create a specific board surrounding all the products that you have that are aimed at scalp care, or create an ad campaign using idea pins that show an in-depth scalp routine using your products. And the second trend is a minimalist makeover. So from short braids and micro bangs to minimalist French manicures, This year is going to see beauty favouring a refined and stripped back aesthetic over maximalist styling. People are continuing to prioritise self-care, and we know from our own consumer research that people would prefer to feel good over looking good. So make sure that your beauty brand is aware of these changes in consumer behaviour and these trends. If you're a beauty brand, create boards around minimalist makeup or skincare for minimalist looks, and even the images that you use for your pins could show stripped back models, for example. Now, next is airy styles, and this includes things like shimmery dresses, ruffle shirts, and sheer pants. After 3 years of loungewear, lockdowns, and working from home, the focus is now on fashion-forward movements for empowerment. This trend is a gender-agnostic expression, and it will aim at encouraging people to wear what they want, when they want. So if you're a beauty brand, you could tap into shimmering beauty looks by showing convertible colors and shiny makeup tutorials. And this can also be reflected in the imagery for your paid ads, for example, from your model's use of clothing to the backgrounds that are used. And the final trend that we're going to take a look at is free spirits, which is a creative cocktails presentation. Now, Gen X will be driving this trend, and it will be a new way of thinking about cocktails that have low or no alcohol. And this also reflects the holistic health and wellness trend that we're seeing at the moment and how users are prioritizing feeling good within themselves. Now, you may be thinking, well, what do low alcohol cocktails have to do with beauty? But if you're a health and beauty brand, you could get involved by highlighting the benefits of a life without alcohol. For example, better skin, a little wind down time, or a better focus on your wellness. And this just highlights that if you are a beauty brand, you don't just have to focus on the beauty trends on Pinterest. There are so many ways that your brand can get involved with all the current trends.
So we've taken a look at why your brand should be on Pinterest, how to get started, and some of the key beauty trends for you to take part in this year. What we're going to do now is look at a few case studies of brands who have included Pinterest in their overall digital marketing strategy and have seen really great success by advertising on the platform. First up is MAC. Now, MAC set out to drive awareness and consideration for their hero products to reach users by creating looks to celebrate the moments that mattered to them. They began by using Pinterest insights to identify top emerging beauty trends, and they turned that data into bespoke editorial content that showcased their products in a new way. This led to a 2.5-point lift in pin awareness and a cost per click that was 57% lower than their target. So their full funnel strategy paid off. Some key learnings from their approach that your brand can implement are, firstly, making sure you are tapping into those key trends and moments and leveraging them whenever you can. Learn what your audience is searching for on the platform and show up where they're at the most. And secondly, strive for creative excellence. Innovate with different ad formats and explore all those different ways your brands can show up on Pinterest and capture attention. The next brand is fragrance and beauty giants Guerlain. They turned to Pinterest to promote their new Rouge G lipstick to a targeted audience of high-end female shoppers. By combining several ad formats, video, static, carousel, and collection, with interesting keyword targeting, they were able to increase brand awareness and consideration, which led to a 14% increase in purchase intent and a 40% uplift in add to cart conversions. They also recorded the most competitive CPM versus other platforms running the same type of creative. Again, this highlights that in order to boost ad recall, make sure you're using a variety of different ad formats and a targeting strategy based on interest and keywords to reach the right audiences. And remember, use those audience insight tools on the platform so you can adjust your aim during the campaign and maximize performance. The final brand we're going to look at is skincare brand Nip and Fab, and one of our current clients. They wanted to drive more revenue through their e-commerce store, but with the skincare market more crowded than ever post-COVID, cutting through the noise was a challenge. Coupled with the ongoing impact of iOS 14 and the increased cost of results on things like their meta campaigns, they wanted to explore other new channels. We helped them leverage the untapped potential of Pinterest ads, using a combination of objectives and audiences to drive results, from interest-based prospecting campaigns through to act-like audiences based on their past customers and website visitors, all rounded off with a retargeting campaign to drive conversions. And the results spoke for themselves. This focused approach saw basket size increase by 11% compared to their other digital campaigning. ROAS was 24% higher than Google for the same period. And best of all, by using Pinterest to target this engaged audience of beauty fanatics ready to spend, conversion rates hit 40%, which was a massive increase of more than 1,000 versus Google. So that brings us to the takeaways. Hopefully you found everything we've gone through there really useful. I know some people have not used Pinterest for a long time, others have never used it. So whether that was a bit of a refresher or kind of a new start for you, hopefully there's been some value there. I'm just going to sum up what we've gone over with some key takeaways, and then we'll get into the quiz. So firstly, you really can't afford to not be on Pinterest. Hopefully that's clear either through some of the stats we've shared around e-commerce results or those brand case studies. Not only is it a brilliant platform for consumers to discover your product, remember 97% of searches are unbranded, but from people looking for products and solutions. But as we've seen, once they do discover you, chances of them purchasing are so much higher than on other platforms. And remember, this isn't Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Optimizing your content efficiently for Pinterest means leaning into the specific creative requirements. Square no longer rules here, and repurposing content from other platforms simply won't do. Make sure you're creating bespoke, high-quality content that reflects the needs of the platform. And that means you no longer have to shy away from acting like a brand in the name of authenticity. Brands are a native, expected part of Pinterest, so you go ahead and place yours front and center with those prominent logos and call to actions. Thirdly, go full funnel with your ads. The Pinterest advertisers that see the most success are those taking a wider view. Create a full funnel campaign with video or idea pins targeting interest and actor-like audiences to drive engagement and traffic, alongside collection, catalog, and product pin ads, retargeting users who've engaged with your pins, visited your site, or purchased previously. This mixed approach yields higher conversions and a much larger conversion rate. And finally, keep on top of Pinterest trends. Remember, trends last 20% longer than on any other social media platform. So utilize all those trends tools to help shape your organic and paid content, and keep an eye on their prediction reports. As Liv said, 8 out of 10 of their predictions came true over the last 3 years. So do take advantage of this. Thank you to everyone who joined. Hopefully you found that really useful and inspiring. We'll be following up with a recording of today's session along with a downloadable guide this afternoon, but do feel free to drop us a line or reach out if you'd like to discuss anything in more detail. And then finally, if you've enjoyed today's event, I just want to let you know about another event we've got coming up quite soon. The new era of beauty retail is here. We'll be exploring how growing beauty brands can win in this fast-changing landscape. It's an in-person event, and it's quite soon, 23rd of May in Shoreditch. And again, we'll share details of how you can register and book your space for that in the follow-up to today's email. That's everything from us then. So we're going to say goodbye. As I said, hopefully you found that useful. And please do get in touch if you want to discuss anything in a bit more detail. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.